identify as blind. Through magnetic storytelling and pop culture deep dives, Lachi challenges mainstream views on disability and neurodivergence with humor and heart. Each story reframes disability not as a deficit, but as a wellspring of collective strength, because inventions created for people with disabilities benefit everyone. I identify as blind is just what the world needs right now, an invitation to a cultural moment that celebrates disabilities as a source of power and pride. Lachi is an award-winning recording artist, producer of a Grammy-nominated album, public speaker, and the first openly disabled national trustee of the Recording Academy. She's the CEO of RAMPD, Recording Artists and Music Professionals with Disabilities, which is partnered with Netflix and Live Nation. Named a USA Today Women of the Year and a dedicated foot soldier for disability pride by Forbes, Lachi hosted the PBS American Master Series Renegades and has appeared on Good Morning America and spoken at the White House. Lachi will be in conversation with Maria Town, the president and CEO of the American Association of People with Disabilities, where she works to increase the political and economic power of people with disabilities. Town previously served as the director of the City of Houston Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities and was the senior associate director in the Obama White House Office of Public Engagement, advocating for people with disabilities and managing disability community engagement. Lachi will be beginning her discussion tonight, joined by Indy Robinson for a musical number called Cornrows Re-imagined. Please join me in welcoming Lachi, Indy Robinson, and Maria Town.
Hey, y'all. Ooh. Before we get started real quick, I just wanted to say hi. Thank you so much for coming out. What's up, DC? How you doing, DC? Great. Snowy? That's how you're doing? You're doing snowy? Got it. So we're about to sing a song for you guys called Cornrows Re-imagined, and it essentially discusses all of the different parts of my identity. You're going to hear different sounds in it, like huh, which describe my ADHD. You're going to hear sounds like do, which describe my OCD. You're going to hear repetitions of hey, ya, which is sometimes often how I feel when I am unable to see as I navigate and I'm thinking, where's everything? And the last thing you'll hear is who, ha, who, which signifies my generalized anxiety. But a reason why I'm starting with this song, Cornrows Re-imagined, is it is essentially my my self-description. And so as a blind person, a self-description describes just kind of what you look like. My self-description is Lachi, she, her, and I'm a black woman with cornrows. And so this song is my fully imagined self-description. Cornrows Re-imagined. I hope you enjoy it. Hoo ha hoo hoo ha 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 I'm Lachi, she, her, black girl, cornrows, brown skin, big city raised, not born low. See me with a drip from the face to the shoelace, hanging from the cane when they see me roar so loud. I'm an incredibly proud, daredevil African child, straight from the roots of a generation, pursuit of me, chasing the greatness and bagging the loot. And my forefathers knew, and my forefathers cool, and I wish my brothers knew America, they would be better off shielded by heritage. I am the life of rights. It's nice to be blind to, but never to. I came out, y'all was like, bruh. Only a mother could love. Dreams of ash, diamonds and death. Now watch me whine as I die for the shine of the blood. And I am enough. 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 Thank you. Thank you, Indy. Thank you, Indy. Awesome. That song is available on Spotify, so please feel free to check it. Or, well, Spotify's the devil. Any of the music streaming platforms that you love, and it is also heavily showcased in my audiobook. So if you catch the audiobook, you will hear that song. Okay. Am I going? Hello, Maria.
Lachi, hello.
Hey, hey. Let's give it up for Maria.
Thank you, thank you. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here with you tonight. You have had an incredible week, an incredible couple of years. Yeah. We're going to talk about a little bit of that. But I just feel very grateful to be included in all of the work that you're doing. So, but to kick us off, I know that this esteemed audience just got a self-description via song.
Yes.
But you did not do a comprehensive self-description of your current
snap.
outfit.
Oh, girl. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk more about myself.
Absolutely.
So, Lachi, she, her, I'm a Black woman with cornrows. I identify as blind and neurodivergent. I am wearing ridiculously high black heels. I think this is 6 inches, all right? Calm down. Wearing very shiny black pants made by the gorgeous Afua Sam over there in the audience, okay? This jacket, yellow, blue, red, pink, black, made by the gorgeous Afua Sam. Clap again. She's clapping for herself, guys. Cornrows, beat face, by the amazing Arthur Gwynn, who went viral again for my Grammys makeup. Give it up for Arthur. Woo-hoo! And then some colorful earrings. Here we go. Let's hear your self-description.
Mine, yes. So I'm a white woman with long brown hair. I'm wearing a purple dress because I wanted to channel the book cover.
Hey.
I've got on pink glitter and silver glitter Converse. I'm wearing a chunky necklace made by Ghanaian disabled artists and chunky pearl earrings. And I've got on red lipstick.
Who's the Ghanaian disabled artist?
It's an organization. Oh my gosh,
Y'all, be mad. They're watching. They're
You
mad
should
right
be
now.
mad. Well, so the reason I don't know the name is because the woman just gave this to me at
Aw.
the Global Disability Summit in Berlin in April.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right. Cool. Love it.
yes. So Lachi, as we start our conversation, I just wanted to note something. I was thinking about Politics and Prose, which is a real kind of community center for DC. If somebody's doing a book tour, they're coming to DC, they're coming to Politics and Prose.
Sure.
And I was thinking about the last time that I'd actually been to this location, because there are multiple locations. And one of the last times was March 3rd, 2020, for Judy Human's book talk on her book, Being Human. And so I was thinking about what it would mean for her to see the two of us up here in conversation with all these people. And I wanted to ask you, Judy would be so proud. She would, and she would not waste a minute to express her pride in you. So she would be blowing up your phone.
Mm-hmm.
When you got that phone call, what would you tell Judy about your life right now and about this book?
Oof. Well, she would probably be calling me at some ungodly hour, like 3 a.m.
It's true.
And then I'd be like, Judy, it's 3 a.m. And she'd be like, oh, no, it's cool. I'm in LA. And I'd be like, it's still late there. Like, but no, she would probably say, Lachi, I'm just calling you now because I wanted to let you know that I saw how amazing your book cover is. I saw that your book is doing well, and I know that I'm in it. And so I'm going to read it to make sure you didn't say anything bad about me. Mm-hmm. And she'd probably say, I saw you in the beginning when you were just starting off your advocacy path. And I'm honored to have been a voice as part of that path. Actually, hold on a second. I have a call coming in.
It's true.
And then I'd just be on hold for 40. I would stay on hold for inappropriately, unkind amounts of time.
It's true.
And then she'd come back so anyway, really? It's now a different season. You can't just continue the conversation. But anyway, one of the things I loved about Judy, though, was she always told me how proud she was of me. And she always told me how she felt when I would be like, you're my mentor. She would say things like, you mentor me. I look up to you. And so we were just, really proud of each other. And I do definitely pay her homage in this book.
So what would be the big update on your life?
Was part of a Grammy nomination. Oh, you know what she would love? The fact that I am a national trustee of the Recording Academy. She was there when I first, my first Grammys, and things didn't go the way I wanted. She was my first phone call, and I was in tears, and she said, sue them. And I was like, I'm not you. I don't do that. She's like, hook your wheelchair up to a bus. I'm like, no, different disability. And so she'd be proud that I was able to wheedle my way into the inside, into the leading table in the music industry, and start making change as a decision maker. I think that would probably be one of the biggest updates that she'd be proud of.
Absolutely, because disabled people belong wherever decisions are being made.
Period.
So I've spent this week listening to your book, and you're a recording artist, so you've spent a ton of time in the booth. And I wanted to know if there was anything different between recording songs and recording the book.
Yeah, so when I'm recording music, I actually love the way my voice sounds. Mm-hmm. But when I talk, and because right now I'm talking and I can hear myself, and I'm like, I don't like the way I sound when I talk. So what ended up happening, did somebody just make it louder? Rude. No, I'm just kidding. But what happened was I go into the booth and I'm being directed by Nicole. I don't remember her last name right now, but she's really, really good. Very good audiobook director. Okay. I go in the booth and I'm talking and I hate everything that's coming out. And it's my home studio, my home booth. And I'm just like, I sound like a statue. I sound stilted, right? And so I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Scrap the audiobook. And they were like, Lachi, calm down. So then I sit in my couch And I just kind of say, all right, let me just read the book from the couch. And I'm reading the book from the couch. And I love the way I sound just reading if I'm relaxed, I'm having a good time. And so we come up with the bright idea of let's move the entire studio to your couch. So we actually moved the entire studio setup to my couch, and I read it the whole thing in my pajamas, in my couch. And in the morning, I don't know if Nicole knows this, in the morning I'd have tea, like a lemon tea, and we would work 8-hour days.
Okay.
So for the first half, I'd have lemon tea, and then for the second half of the day, I'd switch the tea out for wine. Just to keep me chug-a-lugging, you know what I mean? So sometimes in the book, you're going to hear like me talking prim and proper, and then in other parts, you might hear me just kind of laughing at my own jokes in the book. Those are the afternoon.
I'm going to have to listen again. And then annotate. I think this is a wine part.
This is a wine part, yes.
Well, so that I actually, I'm going to change the order of my questions up a little bit. There's a lot of partying in the book.
Yeah.
There's a lot of getting down. I love to see it. Talk to me about disability decadence.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love to celebrate is just fashion, pop, going out, having a good time. Everybody knows about my glam canes. If you don't, glamcanes.com, let everybody know, spread the word. But really, I think one of the biggest issues that we have, and I don't just mean in the disability community, I mean, period, is the fact that we're all masking. Mm-hmm. Everyone is wearing some kind of mask. And I believe, and that, people are afraid of being seen as too much or a burden or too weak or whatever. So they hide like the best parts of themselves so that they can blend in or not be seen those ways. Honestly, not to be pathologized, right? And I think it's because we just don't know how to talk about it. We just don't know how to express it. We just don't know how to do it in a way that is not charity lens, medical lens, grievance lens, sad lens, when we talk about these deep things. And so that's what I do in every aspect. I try to do it through the music. I try to do that, just make these hard topics fun to talk about through the fashion, through the jokes, right? Through the going out and being in everyone's face. Because when we mask, all we're doing is erasing ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so what this all is combating erasure. I want to go with a bunch of my girlfriends, with a bunch of our glam canes looking cute as hell, right? Go to the club and say, hey, we're here. We're proud. We're sexy and we're relevant and we got the cash to spend. So give us the drinks.
Yeah. And we brought our own doctored up orange juice.
Oh, yeah.
To the club with us in case the drinks aren't strong enough. Yeah.
So there's a section in the book where we smuggle in tequila and also a full like the full carton of orange juice because we wanted the pulp kind. So whatever. You can't say no to me. Bring my own shoe. And black women in our purses, man, we can bring anything into anywhere. I could bring a whole school bus. Okay? Yeah.
So going back to the beginning of the book starts with, I think, with the day that you lost the majority of your vision, yes. Right? And I believe as you told Arthur, I'm blind. But you also say a little bit later on, the day you lost your sight, you thought, now I can actually live.
Yes.
So I think that would surprise people. Can you say more about that?
Well, first and foremost, there are some movies out there like $1 Million Baby or Me Before You. These are movies where the happy ending is the person gains a disability and decides, I would rather die, right? And there's a lot of rhetoric of people going, oh my God, if I lost my sight or if I suddenly became disabled in some way, I'd rather just die. Mm-hmm. For me, when I lost my sight, my first thought was, how do I capitalize off this? How do I turn this into a business opportunity? That's because I'm Nigerian, but other people can have other reasons. But it lit a fire under my butt because what ended up happening was the doctor had told me, I had like a corneal eruption or something, and the doctor told me, you're gonna keep having these, your vision is gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse, and you're gonna go from low vision to no vision. And I had this bright idea where I was like, oh, I wanna start living. I wanna start jumping out of airplanes. I wanna start camel riding. I wanna meet celebrities. I wanna do all these cool things before I lose my sight completely. And while I was running around doing all those things, I had this epiphany of like, wait, why should I stop when I lose my sight completely? And essentially, me right here with you all is still me on that journey.
Wow. One of the other things you do a lot of in your book is define concepts, and you spend a lot of time defining disability. The question of how do you define disability is actually the question I get asked most of all in my job. And so, Lachi, how do you define disability?
Well, I like to go the extra step of defining disability identity. I believe that disability identity is something that we all have. A lot of times when people think of disability, they think of a them. Maybe they think, oh, disability is for when you get older, or it's that person over there in a wheelchair, or it's that person who's getting, I don't know, some kind of workers' comp or benefits from work or whatever. I think that disability identity is something that we all have. It is how you navigate in a world that wasn't built for your body mind. Disability umbrella is so ridiculously broad. It could include everything from asthma to general anxiety to chronic back pain to tinnitus to seasonal depression to light sensitivity. I only said 6 things and everybody here could connect to one, right? So that's disability identity. We all have something that we have to overcompensate in order for us to navigate in this world that wasn't built for our body mind. And while we're sitting here overcompensating, we are building up this problem-solving muscle, this creative muscle, right? Because we're essentially navigating life on hard. And then when we're finally accommodated for that thing, all of a sudden we're soaring. So like the perfect example is, one of the reasons I don't like to, I usually like to say that I'm either blind or legally blind. I don't really like to say visually impaired because if I have my screen reader, if I have my magnifier, I have my cane, I'm still blind, but I'm not impaired, right? And people will come up to me and they'll go, Lachi, you overcame your blindness. I'm like, boo, I'm still blind. So I didn't overcome blindness. I overcame inaccessibility. I overcame ableist attitudes. These are the types of things. So when you ask, how do you define disability or disability identity? I say that it is something that we all have within us. A difference that we all have within us, a spark, the deepest adversity that we all have within us that we, if unaided, would have to heavily overcompensate for in order to navigate a world that wasn't built for our body and mind.
I love that definition. That is much more inclusive than a physical or mental condition that seriously limits an activity of daily living, which is the definition within the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Exactly. Because my blindness doesn't limit my physical and mental, whatever you just said. But it is a thing that I have to overcompensate for, that when it is accommodated, I soar.
So related to this, and this is actually one of the many quotes in the book that I loved, you say there are 2 types of people: those who accept their disability and those who will eventually have to accept their disability. And yet there is still this thing that you call an empathy blockage and shame. So what do we do about it? If disability is so universal, right, to the human experience, what do we do about consistent empathy blockages and shame?
Pick up the book. Grab the book. All right. Thanks for the setup. Layup. Yeah, alley-oop.
That's what I'm here for.
Got you. At the end of the day, and I know I'm just kind of saying the same thing again, but I really think it is a discussion of unmasking. It's a discussion of being able to talk about these things without a charity lens, a grievance lens, a medical lens, looking at it from a social lens, looking at it. And so this is why I have these discussions about disability identity in this larger umbrella. Because as long as it is an us versus them, then we will always continue to have this empathy blockage. But the problem is that, there is no them. We are all in this situation together. Like somebody had asked me, how do you be a good disabled ally, like an ally to disability? Mm-hmm. And my response is, you're disabled. So we're just allies to each other. And it's like, figure out how you're disabled, because you're here somewhere. You may not need accommodations, right? And if you don't need an accommodation, that doesn't mean that, people should walk all over you. You still deserve to be treated like a human being. You may not have a visible or apparent disability, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be, accommodated for. You may not even know that you have one or what it is, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still be accommodated for and treated like a human. And so when people say, how are you the best, how can I be an ally? I say, figure out where on the spectrum you live, on either the disability identity spectrum, the neurodivergence identity spectrum. And then once you find that in yourself, then you can truly empathize with a person with a disability. You can truly empathize, frankly, with any human, because everybody has something. And once people start to realize that part within themselves, once they murder that internalized ableism that is keeping them from being able to recognize it, that is when we start to get rid of that empathy blockage and that shame. And you know what? Like, even right now, and just DC, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. Yeah. Actually, I just went viral because I was wearing an ice out pin at the Grammys. I was like, whoops.
You should.
Okay. All right. Who's snapping? Yes, girl. Because I feel like at the end of the day, we are all navigating internalized inferiority, right? We're doing our best to just be proud of ourselves and feel worthy without having to say, I feel worthy because that person's failing, right? You just want to feel worthy in an abundance mindset type of thing. However, the system we're living in just keeps reinforcing that you have to put the other guy down in order for you to feel worthy. And that's the reason I'm wearing the ice out pin. Because it's that mechanism, we just keep finding different mechanisms to harm other people and make them feel inferior or to scare other people. But eventually that mechanism is what a brother is going to use on their own brother, right? As we see now, folks have used it on Black and brown folks, used it against women, used it against queer folk, used it against all of the things, right? And so that mechanism is the problem, because you can just use it against your brother, and it's because you're using it against yourself internally, and you can't figure out how to get rid of that. And it's why I have so much disability pride, because, someone can pathologize you for being Black or brown. They can pathologize you for being a woman. They can pathologize you for being queer. They can pathologize you for being trans. They can pathologize you for anything. So I say, I may as well be proud of my disability identity, because it says, screw your pathologizing.
Yes. We could get some more applause for that. So you introduce a lot of new concepts in this book, and one of the concepts that I want to dig more into, and I love what you called it, is big trauma.
Sure.
What is big trauma?
So everyone is ranting against some industrial complex or another, right? I'm ranting against big trauma. So think big tobacco, big pharma, big pillow. Apparently is a thing.
Big turkey is also a thing.
Big turkey. I define big trauma as essentially exploiting disabled folks for cash. All right. So exploiting disability as trauma tropes or inspiration porn in order to get folks to donate, right? So think the really sad Shriners commercials or any commercial with Sarah McLachlan's Eyes of an Angel under it, right? You ever see those ASPCA like with the animals and like the animals are freezing? I'm like, who is filming freezing animals? Like, go help the animal, get away from the camera. Jesus. Anyway, that's what big trauma is. And big trauma is everywhere. Like, you don't recognize just how inundated we are with it. Think of all of the movies with actors who are non-disabled, who are playing like a severely disabled person, and how many Oscars they walk away with, right? It turns out it's actually a 50-50 chance that you'll win an Oscar if you play a disabled person, which is terrible. And if you're non-disabled person playing a disabled person. It is, like I said, it's inspiration porn is everywhere. Like, I can't even give examples because everything is an example. You ever see something where it's like, there's a kid with one arm and he puts on a t-shirt and it's like, this little guy could do it, so could you. Things like that. These are all results of big trauma. And I spend a healthy amount of time in the book really breaking it down. Do you guys remember? You may not. I was super young during this, so some of you may remember. But Jerry Lewis used to do this thing called those little marathons where you have to call in to help with like people with muscular dystrophy, and they would have all the muscular dystrophy kids come up and just stand around and smile. And there's all these like superstars trying to help, and they're going like, I'm famous, donate money, right? This is all big trauma. Or let's say, for instance, I'm not going to name any names, but there are certain like organizations.
Not AAPD.
No, sorry, not AAPD. There are certain foundations that use trauma stories and trauma tropes for fundraising, the sad disability stories in order to, make you throw dollars at it to make it go away. These are what I call big trauma, and they raise so much more money than folks who are doing it the right way. Things that are disabled led, right? Mm-hmm. They're making so much more money because it's an industrial complex. It's exploitative, right? And so that's what I dig into. That's what I fight against. I fight against non-disabled led situations for disabled people because I feel like you're not the one truly impacted by it. If you're not the one truly impacted by it, you shouldn't be leading it. Like, I'm not going to like a women's healthcare center that's led by all men, right? I'm not going to like a Black Power rally that only has white people at it. Like,
red flags all around.
You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm. One of my other favorite quotes in the book, you say, I'm the most liberated I've ever been because I built community around my difference. I literally stopped. I paused my audiobook and just said, yes. And I like listened to it again because I wanted to make sure I wrote it down correctly. So, I think we understand a little bit about what you mean, but when you're claiming your difference, but it was the community part that really stood out to me in that quote. And the community is very clearly comes through in the book. So talk about how you're building community, whether through Ramped or in other mechanisms right now.
Yeah, so community is everything to me. Some people find power in money. Money is nice. Some people find power in popularity and different things. I find power in community. That's where I am at my most high. And yes, it comes through in the book. There's like maybe about 40 interviews in the book. All of the albums that I do, the music that I do is generally collaborative. Even I'm going to be putting out a kids album actually. In the next, probably hopefully July or August. There are going to be so many people in that album. If you want to be in the album, just let me know. You gotta do the right channels. But community is everything, and this is why. Because one of the things that I have found is that, when somebody comes to me and they go, holy snap, Lachi, what is disability? I'm new to this. What do I do? The first thing I tell them is to go find community. Even if it's just going to Reddit or Instagram and just finding other people to follow, start there, because you get to learn the language, the lingo. You get to understand the culture of disability. You get to see other people advocating, and you get to find a place where you can share your wins and your woes. You get to have a community of folks where when you go out into the world and something weird happens, you get to go back and be like, was this weird or am I tripping, right? Mm-hmm. And so once you start to have that community, this is not even for disability, this is in general, right? Once you start to have that community, you start to feel comfortable. You start to let your guard down. You start to what? Take your mask off. And when you start to do that, then you're able to find that confidence that you need, okay? So when you do it around the deepest part of yourself society tells you to hide, the amount of strength and confidence and power and realization of what you've been wasting your energy hiding really explodes. Because the truth of the matter is that we spend our energy doing a bunch of things, but we don't realize how much energy we spend on masking like the deepest part of ourselves just so that we can fit in, right? Trying to pretend or trying to this or that. That actually takes up the most of our energy. And you're not going to be able to just wake up one day. Maybe you will. Well, I just woke up one day blind and did it, but no. You may not be able to wake up one day and just say, I'm liberated, right? But the way to become liberated is through community. Because what it does is it makes you confident in that thing that you've been bonding over with other folks. And if it's your biggest, deepest difference, then you're unraveling yourself to find that deepest, most liberated you. So there's a concept I talk about called the reference man. Mm-hmm. And the reference man is essentially just like what you would define the most typical person as. Let's say it's like and this is not what I would define it as, but just what our systemically oppressed society defines it as. And it's generally like a 20s to 30s, healthy fit, male, straight, Caucasian person, right? And the more you deviate from that, they measure your deviation, right? So if you're looking to hire someone, or if you're looking for who's attractive, or if you're looking for who to bring onto your set for Hollywood, you judge it against this standard. And everyone keeps trying to get to that standard because it is how we've defined success. It is how we've defined good. And the truth of the matter is that actually those who are successful are those who are actually the furthest away from that thing, right? Because you're not trying to become someone you're not. You're trying to be your most you. And I don't know if you believe in God or Gaia or whatever, but you were put on this earth to be the youest you. You weren't put on this earth to be the reference man. You weren't put on this earth to be, try to be, this person or that person. You were put on this earth to be the youest you. And the only way you can be the youest you is if you take off all of this baggage and all these clothing that we have put on ourselves to hide our truest self. And then you kind of walk out, blinking into the sun, and you get to say, whoa, I actually really like this person that is me. Oh, thank you.
Your discussion just gave me the idea, Lachi, you should do a disability-informed, disability-led cover, Free to Be You and Me. That would sell. I would go buy it.
Okay.
Put it on the children's album.
Okay, let's look into it.
Yeah.
Let's look into it.
Give me the 15%, when it
Oh,
comes
no.
to
Oh, no. Uh-oh. Oh, no. No.
So we've got a couple of minutes left before we open it up to questions from the audience. And we started with Judy, and I want to close at least our conversation with Brad. And by Brad, I mean Brad Lomax, the godfather of disability rights.
Yes, I hope that sticks.
We're just going to start doing it. So tell us who Brad Lomax is. And like Judy, I think he's here in spirit.
Sure.
And so what do you want to say to him about how Black disabled baddies are leading the way in our movement and defining disability culture?
Yeah, so for those who may not know and haven't read the book yet, so Brad Lomax, so in 1977, let's just go all the way back.
All the way back.
I'll make it as quick as possible. That in 1977, a group of disabled folks led a sit-in in order to try to pass the Rehabilitation Act, the 504 section of the Rehabilitation Act, in order to have to stop discrimination for folks with disabilities at the federal level. Okay. At this time, there were going to be about like 10 or so sit-ins around the country in 1977. All of those sit-ins all failed after like one day, except for one sit-in in San Francisco that went for 26 days. And all the other sit-ins didn't work out because they were all disabled folks. I mean, we out here, we need like oxygen and shit. We can't be fucking, sorry.
Right. I think that this is your event. You can curse.
Okay, cool. Got you. All right. Y'all good, DC? How y'all doing, DC? What's up? Oh, okay. Whoa. Hey, oh, okay. Sorry. Whoops. Arthur always coming in with it. So, but one lasted for 26 days. And that one that lasted for 26 days, which was led by Judy Heumann, ended up being the one that got them to pass the act, which eventually led to the Americans with Disabilities Act, which eventually led to more acts around the globe helping folks, allowing folks with disabilities to have more human rights. What is often overlooked in this story is that the reason that that sit-in lasted 28 days was there was a young man named Brad Lomax who was a Black Panther. Now, if y'all know nothing about the Black Panthers is black. Black Panthers is black. You know what I mean? Like capital B, black, right? And they, Brad Lomax convinced them that this very white movement was worth Black folks fighting too. And so the Black Panthers brought in food, supplies, and all sorts of things in order for this thing to work out. And when I say food, I'm not saying like dry little rations or whatever. I'm talking chicken and soup and greens and just real food. I'm like, y'all getting some like high restaurant level food for y'all sitting. No wonder y'all lasted 26 days. Y'all was like, we don't even want this stand. Let's keep getting. But anyway, and so Brad Lomax is actually the reason why we have, I believe Brad Lomax is the reason why we have everything, because we would not have been able to last. And so I really want to make sure that his story is told. But beyond that, we need to recognize that disability, I mean, I hate to say it, but hashtag so white. And we wonder why the disability movement isn't like stronger, right? It's very, when you think of Black culture, you think of the food, you think of the lingo, you think of the dancing, the slang. When you think of Latino cultures, you think of the food, again, the culture, I think of the drinks, personally. When you think of immigrant cultures, again, you think of the clothing, the fashion, the community, the food, etc. Why is it that when you think of disability culture, you think of grievance, right? You think of maybe complaints or compliance, right? I want, when people think of disability culture, to think of, the glam canes, right? To think of the lingo that we use, to think of the disability joy, the disability pride, right? And I think the reason why we aren't getting over that hump is because there's no grit, there's no color, there's no spice, there's no Yas Queen energy leading this movement. And once we as a disability community embrace our Black folk, our brown folk, our immigrant folk, our queer folk, and allow our stories to shine, then people are going to want to say like, oh, I want to be a part of it. You know how many people when I come up to them, styling and profiling with my glam canes and talking about Ramped and all of the cool things that our organization has done, they're like, well, now I'm deaf in one ear or something. Like, can I be a part? Like, I got something. And I'm like, so now you want. So that's what I'm trying to say. When we showcase this like hip Yas Queen, black and brown energy and bring it into the fold, we are going to start getting more people going like, now what are they talking about over here? And on the flip side, we need our Black communities to uplift their folks with disabilities. We need our brown communities to uplift their folks with disabilities and those stories. We need our queer communities to uplift folks with disabilities. It goes both ways because we're all in this together, but we do need to recognize that these stories are we need to be the ones writing these stories. And the best stories, the most hidden ones, are these Black, brown, queer, etc. stories, including that of Brad Lomax. And it's why I touch on it so deeply in the book. And listen, I am a huge Judy disciple. I tell people that I practice Judaism. Okay, good, that one worked. Y'all are a good crowd. It's gone bad sometimes. But I am also a disciple and descendant of my ancestor, Brad Lomax.
Well, with that, I want to open it up to questions from the audience. We have Morgan, our fabulous mic runner, over here.
Hey, Morgan.
So if folks can raise their hands, Morgan will get the mic to you.
Hello, Lachi. I listened to your music the other day and I was blown away. When I say I was blown away, I was blown away.
Let's go.
I do Special Olympics, and a lot of people say, "Why do you have cerebral palsy?"
I have cerebral palsy.
I know. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go.
And people really don't understand that people that have disabilities can do anything, like hold a job, drive a car, and anything else. So I applaud you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that question.
Hey, Lachi, this is Diego.
Oh, what you doing here? Who let Diego in the building? Who let Diego in?
Lachi, first of all, congratulations. This
Thank
is
you.
Amazing. Second, I would love to. It wouldn't be me if I didn't bring entrepreneurship onto the fold, right? And so, how do you think about disability and the disability rights movement as an entrepreneurship, as an innovative movement? And what can we all learn from that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting. I believe that disabled folks are the prime folks for entrepreneurship because I believe that an entrepreneur is essentially someone who is really a great problem solver, someone who has to think on the fly, someone who has to think creatively, someone who has to get used to no a lot, someone who has doors slammed in their face all the time but has to kind of figure out how to get into the side door, right? From the bottom to the middle to the side door, straight to the top, which is a line in one of my songs. Go to Spotify, not Spotify. Tidal. And someone who has to be a visionary, someone who everything is a table stake because it has to be. These are also exactly the traits of entrepreneurs. Constantly having to find that third option, that option C, constantly having to problem solve, constantly having to innovate, constantly having to be driven and determined, get back up, right? And look for a way to navigate problems in a world or an industry that wasn't made for them, right? Because if you think about it, entrepreneurs are trying to solve a problem that hasn't been solved yet. Folks with disabilities are constantly having to solve a problem that hasn't been solved for them yet. I mean, even if it's just as small as figuring out how to get from your bed to the bathroom, right? And as we continue to jack up that muscle of problem solving, we end up being like Hulk Hogan. Oh, he's bad now. Terry Crews. Wink. Terry, if you're out there. But this is why I think that, folks with disabilities are the perfect folks. And also, entrepreneurship is a really great place for folks with disabilities because, the 9 to 5, I understand we got to do what we got to do out here, but that very rigid sort of systemic look at how we need to work, it's breaking down, right? So many people are becoming contractors and recognizing like, hey, I have a skill that I want to own, right? And so I believe that folks are leaving this 9 to 5 situation and becoming their own bosses, becoming entrepreneurs, because literally it's just a more accessible job. Like you can make your own accessible space. You can make your optimal production environment if you make it on your own. And then there was one more thing I was going to say. Oh, and also first and foremost, everything is an access device, right? Like everything, like clothing, right? We were like, oh, we're cold. Or like Eve was like, I'm guilty or something. So let me cover whatever. But what I'm trying to say is that from tables to chairs to the carpet, these are all access innovations because at that time we didn't have it and we needed it, right? So I believe that actually going beyond saying entrepreneurship is good for folks with disabilities, I'm saying innovation in general needs folks with disabilities at the design level for the skill of being able to navigate pretty much everything differently.
We have another question.
Hi. I was wondering how you came up with the idea to put Braille on your book cover.
Yeah,
Really cool.
Yes, no, thank you so much. I wanted to give a nod to the culture, honestly, and I wanted people to learn 17 letters of Braille. No, I wanted to give a nod to the culture and to make the book itself something that, you kind of take a piece of blind culture and blind identity with you. Beyond that, the font in the book is dyslexic friendly. So we wanted to make sure that the book was accessible to folks who read and learn a little differently. And of course, we had the audiobook come out day of. We also have large print books going around. And so we really wanted to have it as well as the cover. It's a dark cover with white letters, which is often how folks with low vision prefer sort of the more inverted color texture. And so we really wanted to lean in to blind culture. So yeah.
There's one question. We're walking the mic up to the front. Or go ahead, ma'am. Sorry.
I wonder if you could say anything about people with AIDS or HIV. Would you put them within the disabled culture? Because I think that people who have that problem categorize themselves.
I believe, well, first and foremost, anybody who knows me knows I think everybody's disabled in some way, shape, or form. But actually, yeah, because at the end of the day, everyone receives ableism, right? Ableist attitudes is also a difficult thing that people have to navigate, right? It's another barrier. An ableist attitude towards someone is a barrier. And there's a lot of, whether it's innocent or not, there's a lot of ignorance around HIV and AIDS. There's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of ableist attitudes that often trigger folks to be ableist to someone, right, with HIV or AIDS. So like a great example in terms of just ableist attitudes is, one of the reasons a lot of folks don't like to share that either they have cancer or any non-visible disability. Like for me, I masked that I had vision loss. We hide these things, not necessarily for any other reason but social attitudes, societal attitudes, right? If we didn't have these social stigmas, then folks with HIV and AIDS would not have to deal with so many different barriers, with so many social barriers, not being invited to a party, not being able to get a certain job, not being able to hang out with certain friends, not get a certain date. All of this also contributes to comorbidities of then gaining depression, gaining social anxieties, which can then lead to potential eating disorders, which can lead to this, which can lead to that, right? Which can also lead to different mental health situations, et cetera. And so to that, I do say yes, because it's actually the social stigma that I'm actually trying to break down here, guys. I mean, the secret code here, it's not even about, it is about celebrating disability pride, disability joy, disability visibility. But the true thing I'm trying to do here is to break down stigma, is to break down shame. When I was young, I was blind and neurodivergent, and I felt so much shame. I was super shy. I didn't speak to anyone. I was very quiet. Today, I'm successful. I'm a social butterfly. Y'all can't get me to shut up. But I'm still blind and neurodivergent. So obviously the condition wasn't the problem. It was the conditioning. So that's what we're out here to change.
So we have one more question.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
I probably know what to tell my students, but I would like to hear from you. Do you have a buzzword, what I can say to them to make them jump in and want to buy this book?
A buzzword. All right. So, first of all, that's my mom. Thanks for coming. My mom is a chief from Nigeria. She is a professor. She was a dean back in Nigeria as well. She's a humanitarian. And I do all of this to try to reach up to what she's done. She's also gorgeous. So is there a buzzword to get them to buy the book? Go buy the book or I'll fail you? Maybe? You don't get a grade until you buy the book? I don't know. No, honestly, really what I've really been just telling people is, this book is an invitation to unmask. Like, if there's ever been something you've been wanting to hide, if you've ever been really just wanting to feel liberated and access that part of yourself and just be able to just talk freely about anything, this book does that. Or if you're just feeling overwhelmed by all the BS that's going on right now and you just want to feel good and just have a really fun romp, this book is that. If you want to sit down with like a spunky fashionista, singer, person, and navigate through disability joy and at the end of it find some liberation, this is that. Also, if you do get the book, guys, leave a review, okay?
A positive one.
Her words. You let other folks know. Please spread the word. Let folks know what we're doing out here because, like I said, we're inundated with big trauma. We're inundated with ableist thoughts. We all have internalized ableism. Everybody has it. And so what this book does is just try to take a little piece of that away from everyone so that we can all look at each other, see the strengths within each other, within ourselves, and just make this world a little less ugh. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lachi. And now we're going to pivot to our signing.
Amazing. Thank you guys for coming out. Please grab a book and I'll give you a signature. Yay!